Hi everyone, welcome to this video. This is a video where I showcase how I have my Bluestack set up for Wild Reef live observing. Bluestack is an emulator that I have tried and tested and found that among all the emulators on the market right now, this has the most features that best suited for Wild Reef live observing purposes. And what I will be showcasing as well is the entire settings on BlueStack as well as in Wild Rift. Um, First of all, you will need to download BlueStacks from their official website, and please download the version 4, which is the stable version. Um, and after you download the BlueStacks, you should log into your Google Play account and download Wild Rift from the Google Play Store. Um, and meanwhile, you should head to this BlueStack settings, and I'll go through some of these settings with you right now. And as a default, the CPU would be at the high setting, which is at 4 cores. If you see your CPU setting, there's only 1 core available. That will mean that you do not have your virtualization turned on. So you might need to make some changes to your BIOS, your PC's BIOS. BlueStack's support webpage does have a very good guide on how you could set that up, how you could make changes to your BIOS to enable uh, more cores for your settings. And for this, I have my CPU set to custom so that I could increase the number of CPU cores for BlueStack to 8. This is important because this will enable all the high settings, all the maximum setting in Wild Rift. RAM set to 4, this is default. The rest I have it on performance, OpenGL, GPU settings. I actually have my dedicated computer graphics, which is the RTX 2060. It's a previous generation graphic card, but it's pretty useful um, for this purpose. If you have a higher graphic card, that's better. If you have slightly lower specs, maybe it could still work. I'm not sure, but you can try. I have software decoding for ASTC texture turned on. Not 100% sure how it improves the quality, but I just have it turned on just in case. Frame rates do enable high frame rates because sometimes in game you could get up to like 90 frame per second, so that's always good to have more frame rates. And the rest I have it on default. In terms of display, I have it on 2560 by 1440 and DPI at 320. Preferences, I've disabled sound while typing, and I also disabled blue highlighter in full screen. And then the rest, I have the notification turned off, and that's it. The rest is pretty much in default. And then we can head into the in-game settings. So for the in-game settings, go to graphic and have the texture quality set to high, effects quality high, shadow quality high, model quality high, resolution high, 60 FPS turned on. This is very important. I have post processing as well. This is not as important, but I just turn it on just in case. I have fog of war set to 20%. This is a personal preference. I prefer the fog of war to be darker, so I have it at 20%. In terms of sound, I have music all the way to 0 because the music can be quite distracting if you're doing a live production. Cool. That's all for the setting. I will head into a match right now. While we are waiting, let's turn on the control editors. So I have this special control scheme. I haven't renamed it. It's called custom. That I made specifically for live observing. And what you can see there is that I have all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and QWERT set up in a way like League of Legends PC observing. If you're familiar with that, this will automatically log on to the specific champions in the game itself. But what is most important here to me is that I have the two free looks button. The free look button is uh, can drag out a new one here. If you drag out a new one here, you can see like up, down, left, right. Uh, sorry, up, down, left, right settings. But this is under the keyboard function. So you need to change it to mouse. And then if you press down to V, you can actually move around. I'll show you in a bit how that works. But let's remove this. So I have two free look button here. One is set to my mouse side button. One is set to my mouse right click button. The differences is that um, for the side button, I have the sensitivity set to 0.1, and I have my the other one's sensitivity set to 1. So I will let you see what's the difference, but um, let me go through the rest. So these are on my number pad. I have a full keyboard, full size keyboard. So I have a number pad, and when I press number pad 7, it will show top lane. Number 3 will go bot lane, and number 5 will go to mid lane. Number 8 and number 2 are the epic monsters. So 8 is Baron, 2 is Dragon, and 1 and 9 are the high ground turrets. Okay, so let's head out from here. Discard that, and let's go to full screen. F11 is full screen. So now we are in full screen. Um, uh, we can click on Q, and then we could see what Xin Zhao is doing. I also did not mention here is that zoom in and zoom out function is the plus and enter button on my number keypad. So if I press enter, it will zoom out all the way, and if I press plus, it will zoom in. Okay, right. So that's the zoom in and zoom out. I should turn off fog of war. And if I use the right click button and move around my mouse, this movement is pretty fast. And sometimes you may not want to have such a fast movement. I can click my mouse side button, and you can see the movement is much slower, much smoother. This is in the case of like a really close team fight, and then you just want to marginally shift the camera. But if you want to move very quickly, you can press down right click and then move around. Or in any case, you could just click on the specific character you're watching. You will follow, the camera will follow it. If I press down button on my keyboard, I could hide the info panel. If I press up, it will show the info panel. If I press space, it will hide everything. If I press space again, it will show the champions as well as the info panel. Now I want to take a look at what's happening on the top lane, right? So I press number pad 7, and it will show me the camera will head towards the top lane. I can move around to check it out. If I want to go to bot lane, I press 3. But it seems like they're pushing it in. So in this case, it might be better to show misfortune. Or let's go back to mid lane. Mid lane, there's some action going on here. Top lane, there's a gank that happened that we just happened to miss, right? So dragon is about to spawn about 23 seconds. So if you press 2, you could automatically pan the camera to dragon pit. If you press 8, it will head to the Rift Herald or the Baron pit. Back to 3. So these buttons are shortcuts for you to move around the Wild Rift very quickly. Yeah. So those are all the functions that I have for my key bindings. I suppose if you are using a gamepad, such camera movement will be even smoother. But right now, this is probably the closest that we can get to League of Legends type of camera works. Yeah. So anyway, that's the end of the video. Hope you found something that you think is useful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Till then, yeah. See you on Wild Rift.